CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live from Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. These two are Vinnie Duber. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer, and the man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. We're being produced today by Sarah.
Hi.
The hoodie of the day is the camo CHGO hoodie. You can go check that out at CHGO Locker. I saw
it's very comfortable.
Greg Braggs is wearing it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the three of us, we didn't call each other. We're just very, very well dressed. So go check that out at chgolocker.com. You can check out all of our merch there. And thanks to everyone who is hanging out, watching already, and hitting the thumbs up button. If you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up button and hit subscribe because we got you covered on the Bears offseason that just started. The Bulls got Zach LaVine back, and he actually played well from what I heard. So that's good. We don't need to talk about the Blackhawks because they're kind of sad at this point. And, you know, if you're a White Sox fan, we got you covered. Whether or not Dylan Cease will be traded. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But the White Sox did make an addition this offseason. Martín Maldonado signed, what is it, a 1 year with an option?
Yeah, 1 year for $4 million, or I guess they call it 1 year, $4.25 million, because the option is also for $4 million, in which case he'd be paid $4 million over each of the 2 years. But there's a $250,000 buyout, so he is guaranteed $4.25 million.
All right. So you got the pleasure of speaking to Martín Maldonado, the $4.25 million man. We're going to hear from Martín Maldonado on this podcast on why he chose the White Sox and what's up to everyone hanging out in the chat. Apex Plays, Bradley Valentine, your guy Teoscar off the board.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers know what they want, and they go after it very aggressively. And so, yeah. 1 year, $23 million. It seems like a bargain for Teoscar Hernandez. I would wish the White Sox would have did that, but whatever. Not a real organization right now, so they're not really looking to get big-time players, where the Dodgers are in a place where they're like, F it. You know, let's just spend all the money and see if we can buy this World Series.
Well, it was pretty funny, too, because at some point over the weekend, Andrew Friedman, I think, just addressed the Dodgers media, and he said, oh, yeah, we're going to be in the market for a right-handed bat that can smash left-handers. And then literally, like 12 hours later, they just, signed Teoscar Hernandez, and it's another deferred contract. And I think now they've outspent the rest of Major League Baseball in just one offseason so far.
I mean, if you just look, after you said that and you just look at the free agent list, you're like, there's only that guy right there, Teoscar Hernandez. So they're going after him. The benefit they have from having a great player like Mookie Betts willing to move into the infield, like participating. He's like, yes, you guys already paid me. I'm going to be a second baseman. I'm good. And then they can go out and say, all right, cool, we got Jason Hayward already signed up. Let's go and get another right-handed bat just to smash lefties. Just a luxury that many teams don't have or don't want to have. And so I'm not poo-pooing the Dodgers. They're doing a great job. I just wish that some other teams would do the same thing. Not, to that level, because they're going crazy. But I wish somebody would say, man, Teoscar Hernandez has some value. Let's go and get him before the Dodgers do.
Yeah, apparently the Red Sox were interested, but not interested enough. Travis Sawchik, writer for The Score, not The Score.
Canadian.
Canadian. Updated free agency spending this offseason following the Teoscar Hernandez signing. Dodgers, $1.066 billion. The rest of Major League Baseball, $1.056 billion. So they have outspent Major League Baseball by, I believe, $10 million.
But, I'm still shocked that it's that close.
That's fair.
I mean, the Dodgers signed one guy to a $700 million. How do you get $1 billion worth of contracts from the rest of baseball?
Oh, do you want me to do that?
No,
the Royals spent like $100 million of it.
Did they?
Yeah.
mean, I guess.
All those
I don't know.
damn San Diego pitchers they picked up with Lugo and Waka, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, they spent over $100 million. I think the White Sox have only been guaranteed $24 million in this offseason period. But as you, Vinny, said, I'm shocked that the Major League Baseball is that close because I don't remember a lot of other signings that were big that didn't go to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nothing over. Well, no, that's not true. Nothing over 100 because the outfielder for the Giants got $100 million.
Lee and
So
Nola
got 172. Nola got 172. Sonny Gray got 75. Candelario got 45. Rodriguez got 80. Yamamoto got $325 million. That's probably a big.
The Dodgers gave it to
The
him.
Dodgers. Goddamn Dodgers.
Damn it.
Okay, yeah. Is this an issue?
Is it an issue?
The Dodgers.
I don't know. Let's put it this way. Everybody's like, oh, the Dodgers, they're the new Death Star. Oh, I hate the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just doing what you want your team to do.
I mean, did we hate the Mets for doing similar things last year?
Because we probably all knew in our heart of hearts it wasn't going to work, didn't we?
I picked them to win the World Series.
I had them there too, but
I'm sure I had them somewhere.
we were fooled.
Darn. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I think the world, maybe not the world, but the baseball world needs a villain, right? That's everyone can rally against a villain. So now you can just go into the 2024 Major League Baseball season and think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. And if anything happens, there's 29 other teams. If anything else happens, you will be left laughing at the Dodgers. And that seems like fun,
Not only that, whether it's the Dodgers' recent history or let's go back to the Yankees in the first decade of this century, right? Most of the time, the team that spends the most money doesn't win the World Series. So, you'd like them there as a foil, as a featured player. I've said when they signed Ohtani that was good for baseball, and I maintain that opinion. But if you're somebody who doesn't like to root for the favorite or particularly likes to root against the favorite, the odds are that they're not going to win. So there you go.
There you go. All right, we'll take a little break here, and then we'll jump into Martín Maldonado. He got about 5.5 minutes from when Vinny and the rest of the White Sox beat chatted with Martín. We'll talk about Maldonado's thoughts, and then we'll take another break, talk about some Dylan Cease stuff from Bob Nightengale, and then I think we'll be done with breaks and then jump into the Monday mailbag. So we still got a full White Sox show loaded up for you. Do want to let you know, though, about our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. Big game tonight.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, hey, national championship game. Someone's going to be raising a trophy. Right now, Michigan 5-point favorites over at Circa Sports, over under at 56. And the reason to bet with Circa is because they're not going to limit you. Most books, when you start winning, they start limiting players. They won't be doing that over at Circa. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players. And over at Circa, they will always try to be offering the best line possible. They encourage you to download and explore all sports betting apps, compare the lines from each sportsbook, and most of the time, if not all the time, you will be seeing that Circa has the best line for you to place a wager on. Again, if you are looking to bet Michigan to cover 5, Circa's got the best lines for you. If you're looking to take Washington on the money line, I think plus 185 is the best price at Circa right now. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app. That's circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or somebody you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537, text GMB 833-234, visit areyourreallywinning.com.
Is this Midtown's time?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just making sure. Midtown has 4 Chicagoland locations. Palatine in the northwest suburbs, Bannockburn in the North Shore, Willowbrook in the southwest suburbs, and Midtown Athletic Club and Hotel in the middle of Bucktown and Lincoln Park. Midtown Palatine has launched a multi-million-dollar transformation of the club, which will be complete in early 2024. Midtown is offering no initiation fees this January at their Bannockburn, Palatine, and Willowbrook locations. There is something for everybody, whether you're a single person, a family, somebody looking for holistic wellness, or just looking to get your body right for the summer. Midtown Chicago is the nicest fitness club that I've ever been to, and others have said the same things because of their super luxe locker rooms and wet and dry saunas with the premium amenities. Amazing outdoor and indoor pools and hot tubs, a collection of boutique fitness studios with more than 100 classes. You can either go to the arena, Samadhi, Everybody Fights, Ride, the Field, or the theater. And the theater is the place where I did the Les Mills body pump, and I got to tell you, mercy. It gets you done for about 45 minutes. You feel great, but your body definitely went through a workout. The best tennis courts and programming in the sport is what Midtown has. Indoor and outdoor tennis, pickleball, or paddleball tennis. USTA professional all the way. Go to midtown.com/CHGO and find out more and tour the Midtown Athletic Club nearest you.
Thanks, Herb.
You're welcome.
So, Vinny, I brought up this stat to you. I don't think Herb heard it. There was the Zips projections for Ronald Acuña's 2024 season, right?
The reigning National League Most Valuable Player.
Exactly. Yeah. And projections for his 95th percentile season were stupid, right? If he has the tops of the tops, he's going to hit 60-plus homers. He's going to have 40-plus doubles. I think his OPS plus was like a 210, right?
That's good.
That works.
Pretty good season, right? 100 is league average. So if you're a 210, you're 110% better than everyone else.
You could
pretty good.
You could literally fuse two average players together, and you would be still better than that.
Like Stuck on Me.
But the reason I bring it up,
just like that,
is because Michigan man, I bring up Michigan in the circuit read because they're in the national championship game. Chris Getz is trying to put out his first ever Major League Baseball team in 2024. And we've seen additions at shortstop at Paul DeYoung, Nicky Lopez in a trade at second base. We've seen Martín Maldonado, who we're going to hear from in a second. The one issue is, going back to the Ronald Acuña thing, sorry if this is a little back and forth, the 5% projectile for Ronald Acuña Jr. had him at an OPS plus of 124. Not that good. Not that good of a season. 5%, that's a really bad season. That's second on the White Sox in 2023. Only Luis Robert Jr. was a better hitter.
And just barely.
In 2023. Yeah, 128 weighted runs created plus. And Martín Maldonado, he is an upgrade in a way. Corey Lee? Actually, it's funnier if I end with Corey Lee. Carlos Perez, who just got DFA'd, he had a weighted runs created plus of 65.
Not good.
Not good. Sebi Zavala, he had a weighted runs created plus with the Chicago White Sox of, and now I'm missing it. Oh, okay. Well, it was 33. And then
not good.
Corey Lee, his 5 hits, had a weighted runs created plus of negative 27.
Not good at all. You left out Yasmani Grandal also, who was well below 100, I would imagine.
But still better than Martín Maldonado. Martín Maldonado was at 66. Grandal was at 80. So
Yasmani Grandal had an 80 OPS plus last year? Yeah. That's surprising.
Still getting it done.
I'm not going to lie. That's surprising. It's 20% worse than the average player, but it's still surprising.
Getting it done. So what is Michigan man... I was going to say Martín Maldonado. What is Michigan man Chris Getz trying to do with the hitters on this roster currently? Because they're bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't really... I mean, listen, what is he trying to do in general? He's trying to improve this team's defense. He's talked about that over and over and over again. And I think, really, you can point to every addition he's made on the field, which at this point is just shortstop, second base, and catcher, and say that he's done that. I think the defense has improved with Paul DeYoung over Tim Anderson. I think the defense probably has obviously improved. Nicky Lopez, pretty good defender, with Nicky Lopez over Elvis Andrus. And the defense and general catcherness, maybe, has improved with Martín Maldonado over Yasmani Grandal and, et al., as you described there. But, yeah, we keep bringing it up. None of these guys really do much to help the offense. And there's still a pretty big hole in right field in which you're wondering what is going to get there to allow this team to score runs. Lopez, DeYoung, Maldonado, the numbers are bad offensively in recent years. You can throw a backup catcher in there, Max Stassi, who they got in a trade. Whether he ends up on the opening day roster or not, we'll see. But his numbers, not very good in recent years either. So it's a bunch of moves that have been made to, yes, improve the team from an all-around aspect standpoint, but if you're looking to see this team score some runs, it's going to have to come from all those guys who disappointed last year and in the years before that, whether that's Moncada, whether that's Jimenez, whether that's Vaughn or Benintendi. Obviously Robert had a phenomenal year last year, and if he keeps that going, great, but he's just one guy. Those other guys are going to have to step up and start hitting a lot if this team is going to score enough runs to win games. I don't think right now any of us sitting here, and probably most folks, anybody you would ask, would say that this White Sox team is well positioned to be a contender in the AL Central. I don't think anybody or many people would say that they're not really well positioned to be much better than they were a year ago. That said, the offseason's not over. There are moves left to be made. I mentioned right field. Who knows if Dylan Cease gets traded, which we'll talk about later, what sort of impact that could have on this position player group, on the lineup right away for 2024. We don't know. So, I'm going to keep paying attention and keep watching to see what Chris Getz does. But as we stand here today, the things he has done from a position player standpoint have done nothing really to make this lineup much better at all, with the exception of maybe saying, well, maybe he could do some of that he's done in the past. Maybe he could do some of that he's done in the past, but we're not really getting much in terms of certainty in that department.
Yeah, I think that if I had to be Chris Getz' advocate and say, hey, I could see what Chris Getz is doing and be positive about him, I would say that he's looking at last year's team and saying, well, shortstop, we were one of the worst. Catcher, we were one of the worst. And second base, we weren't good at all. At minimum, we can improve the defense, and that will move us from being the worst to in the middle of the pack of being a team that can be all right. And like you said, if Paul DeJong goes and reverts back to old form and gives you anything offensively, you've upgraded at shortstop, right? That's what he's thinking. Same thing with catcher. Like, it was just a bad thing back there at catcher. And if you get actual better catching with some leadership, yes, you're not going from bottom to top of the league, but you've improved. And Chris Getz has to deal with Jerry Reinsdorf and the limits that come with this. And so he's probably thinking, like, I don't want to blow the budget out on my first offseason and give all this money to people that I don't know will produce. Let me just improve what the team is right now with the limited resources that I have and get the team slightly better, incrementally better. And if their defense is better, maybe they can just revert back to 2021 for Nicky Lopez, where he was actually hitting. Now, that's the outlier of his career. Same thing with Paul DeJong. His beginning of his career, he was hitting home runs. Now he's kind of settled into not being a hitter and more being the glove first guy. Same thing with Martín Maldonado. Yes, that's why I wanted somebody in right field to say, I can hit home runs. And so you can offset all that rest of that badness that's going to be going up to the plate. So that's just, if I'm just looking at what Chris Getz is trying to do, that's the only positive thing I could say about his offseason. He's just trying to get the runs scored down, or runs down against the White Sox. And the runs for them, he hasn't done anything for that yet. So they need to get some more runs scored instead of runs against.
Yeah, well, and the one thing that I just... Have they upgraded catcher? We haven't heard from Martín Maldonado. I don't want to put him in a body bag before he even speaks. So maybe I should play Martín Maldonado speaking on the Zoom call.
Have they upgraded at catcher? No? You don't think so?
There's a way that I can frame this so it'll make you sick. All right, here's Vinnie Duber asking Martín Maldonado a bunch of questions.
I think the young pitching staff that the White Sox have, pitching staff, I think with the history that I have in Houston, knowing how to work with young pitchers. And from the other side, I would say, that's a great lineup, a great team. I know I can help, bring some leadership, so whatever I got to do to help those guys to win games. And I think that's the most important thing.
What is your experience working with Pedro Grifol, maybe from your time when you were in Kansas City, and how well do you know him, and what was that? How did that impact your decision to come to Chicago?
I'm always good when you have somebody that from the previous year. Me and Pedro and I, we worked pretty much every day. He was doing my routine day in, day out in Chicago, so we got to spend some time together, and that was one of the easiest part to make decision.
Martín, what have you found has been kind of some of the keys to your success in being able to work with pitching staffs, be that in Houston or other stops during your career?
I would say my preparation and the way I care about the pitching staff. I think the way I try to explain to him why and the reason why I do this and for what I do that. And I've been blessed, throughout my career. I've been working with a lot of great pitching staff, and I always learn something from everybody. Every time you you had that conversation. Could be in between innings, could be after a bullpen, spring training, could be in the weight room, whatever we have that conversation. I think just understand what they want to do and how you can contribute to that success.
Martin, you're one of 5 active catchers who have caught more than 8,000 innings. How would you explain your durability? What's the key to, it's a taxing position, and yet you're out there, pretty frequently, almost daily. How do you explain your durability at that spot?
I love to play. I know that position, you're never going to be 100% every day. So I don't think anybody is 100% in baseball because of schedule. But, I like to play the game. I like to be out there for my teammates. And, I do a lot of stretching, take care of my body. And, I feel like the day that you don't play, that's probably the day that you do something cool. So I want to play pretty much every day.
Merck mentioned the number of games you've caught in your career, and then you like a heavy workload. You say at age 37, will that change a little bit? Will you have to back off a little, do you think, this year, or what is your anticipation in terms of how much you can do next year?
I'd be ready every day, man. Like if you ask me, I never in my 12 years, I never asked for an off day. So, as long as, me and Pedro communicate, see where we at. But, for me, I think I'm going to be there as much as they need me. I feel like, people talking about catching, but I used to play first base and I play a couple of innings at first base. I get more tired playing first base than I do catching. So I think catching is more the mental part of the game that you get tired. I don't get tired physically. It's more mental, how to navigate to the lineup with the pitching staff.
Martin, everybody who's come to the White Sox this offseason has talked a lot about Chris Getz and kind of the vision that he has for this team moving forward. What did you hear from him and the rest of the White Sox in terms of what they want to be, not just this year, but moving forward as well?
I think they had a lot of young pitching staff in the minor leagues. I think they're going to help down the line. Like I told him when I was in Houston, people always talk about the 26 guy, but for you to win championship is more than 26 people. Have to be some minor leagues, and he had that vision of, bringing guys with winning experience. I think that when you showed that, especially with that in that division, especially with the team, that lineup that we have, it's about to put it together. It's about how we can get the best version of everybody. Ben Attendee has won championship. A lot of guys there, they won the division a couple of years ago. And they know how to win. I think it is, have that vision of, bringing people with experience of winning and just to create that culture there of winning, winning baseball games.
All right, that's Martín Maldonado, newest White Sox catcher. We're going to take a quick break, and then I'll try to cave in the floor on Herbs, thinking that they, improved defensively. We'll see. Maybe, hopefully. You guys ready to sing?
Yes.
588-2300 Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but those copycats can't beat Empire on quality, service, speed, so those competitors advertise low quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise lowest prices because anyone who does is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. Empire keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is just as important as what they put in. They exhaustively comb thousands of products and samples each year to find the perfect styles, and you can check out those styles with their virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today after you check out out the virtual floor designer. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. Again, you can receive a $350 off discount when you use promo code CHGO, and check out empiretoday.com/CHGO for details.
FOCO. There you go. That's how I'm going to start all ad reads from now on. I'm just going to start screaming the name of the company that we're reading for. Guys, you know we usually when we're in Studio A, you know the bobbleheads that you see out there. The classic Southpaw with the orange flag. The classic Tim Anderson waiting for the red line. Those came to us from FOCO, donated by the great folks over there. You can go and get fitted out in the best sports gear around if you head on over to FOCO. They've got hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. It's always baseball season, even though it's about to snow half a foot tomorrow.
I think this might be from FOCO.
What is that, Justin Fields?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're looking for some baseball-related things, because it's always baseball season, you could get Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, and that always popular bag set for the probably equally snowy March 28th opening day tailgate out at the rate. But yes, please go ahead and show them some love. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below. And remember, for all non-presale items, you can go ahead and use that code CHGO10 for 10% off.
Good ad reads, guys. I feel like I really can't screw it up once we start singing. Like, I really just have to get that one done and do that one as best as I can. Because you guys kind of give me some confidence when we sing. So
we're the wind beneath your wings, if you will. Yeah.
Maybe we should have a jingle for each and every ad read. Okay.
We should do the Empire phone number, but then when it comes to time to do Empire, we just go FOCO or Midtown. Okay. Those are options.
We'll do it tomorrow. All right, ComEd.
Right. See?
Yeah, that's good. All right. Bob Nightengale wrote his 2,000 notebook page piece for USA Today and published it on Sunday. And there were 2 White Sox notes that stuck out. Number 5, it was 10 predictions for the rest of the MLB offseason. It seemed like you wanted to say something.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Number 5, Yankees will add another arm. The New York Yankees will sign or trade for another marquee starter before opening day. After acquiring Juan Soto for only 1 year, they have been shown that they are all in. That means they could overpay at some point for Dylan Cease, although they're balking at the price. And then 7, with the Yankees balking at the price, Bob predicts that Dylan Cease will stay put. The Chicago White Sox will open spring training with Dylan Cease and could even carry him until the July trade deadline. They have serious trade discussions with about half a dozen teams, current including the Yankees and Orioles, but no one has stepped up and is willing to offer a package of at least 2 top 100 prospects and 2 other players. The White Sox can afford to be patient. There's no pressure to move him now, outside of the risk that I know our guy Jared is very worried about in the chat of what if he gets injured. Well, that's the price you pay.
What if anybody gets injured?
Yeah, right.
And the answer is,
what if Vinnie? What if I get injured?
Well, no, we don't do anything nearly physically demanding enough to get injured. But I think the point that I was going to make was, what if anybody gets injured? Well, then you get the last 2 years of White Sox baseball. No.
Ever. Very good. But it's sadder because they could have maybe traded him before he got hurt. But whatever. Before we get into the price, is this odd that Bob's bringing this up? I mean, is it technically before opening day? So like both Bob's prediction can be true that he'll start spring training with the team and then be dealt. Like what are we taking and piecing away from this prediction from Bob? Is it even a report?
Yeah, it is, because if you scroll down further, you'll see that there's another item on Dylan Cease there, but I think that it mostly the same stuff that he mentioned above. Yeah. But no, I mean, listen, this is how the hot stove works, right? It's just one day there's a report saying this, the next day there's a report saying that. I remember when I worked at NBC Sports Chicago during the Manny Machado drama that lasted 6 months, and it was literally this every day. Every day you'd see a tweet, well, Manny Machado prefers to play in a market so-and-so size. And then the next day it would be, well, Manny Machado's wife prefers to play in this city. And the next day it was, well, Manny Machado will only go here if he has the ability to play position X and position Y. And it was literally every day. I was writing the exact same thing because we were getting little just drips of information every single day. And that's how this kind of thing works. And so last week, what were we talking about? 2 reports from national reporters saying it's probably going to happen this offseason because there are teams out there that want pitching, and here it is. And then you've got literally at the end of the exact same week, another national reporter saying, no, maybe they'll hold on to him because the teams aren't willing to match the thing. I don't think this is out of the ordinary. I think it makes it difficult for us to make a prediction in terms of what's going to happen, but sometimes you just got to buckle up and ride the roller coaster and wait to see how it ends. What I take from this is kind of what we've been hearing in other parts of the offseason, which is the White Sox reportedly have a high asking price. Teams out there aren't sure if they want to pay it. Currently, they have some alternate options. I think there was a report just today that the Yankees and Marcus Stroman might be interested in signing in joining up with one each other.
I think that report was that Marcus Stroman was interested in joining the Yankees, and the Yankees said they're not interested.
That's from a few days ago.
Oh.
And then today there's more new stuff. So, I mean, that's the thing. This happens. It changes constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, you have teams out there that have alternatives right now. And we talked about this all the way back at the winter meetings with the idea that come July, there is no alternative, right? A team that wants Dylan Cease is going to have to either pay or not get Dylan Cease. Mm-hmm. Right now, if the White Sox say we want X, Y, and Z for Dylan Cease, and the Yankees go, no thanks, we'll go sign Marcus Stroman. And some other team can go, no thanks, we'll go sign Blake Snell. But at the end of the day, there's still going to be teams that don't have that kind of pitcher, that didn't get to add that kind of pitcher. And not only will they probably still have interest in Dylan Cease, perhaps some of the teams that pivoted will also still have interest in Dylan Cease. And what did we talk about last week? The idea that between opening day and the trade deadline, some team that thought they were perfectly well set in the starting rotation might experience an injury or two or underperformance or two, and all of a sudden you can add them to the list of teams that might want Dylan Cease too. So the White Sox, I understand the desire from fans to see this happen before opening day because of the what if, because of the unknown. But at the same time, they've got a very valuable asset, and basically they're the ones that can set the price. And if a team doesn't want to meet it, they can go, okay, then we'll keep it. And guess what? It's still going to be valuable a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now.
As a longtime veteran of these hot stove rumors, I always look at what is written and then think about who benefits from that story. And that's a White Sox benefit right there. If Bob's saying, well, I'm going to hold them until spring training, but you guys don't have the offer, cool. And so that's how I read it. I see that the White Sox are sending out feelers to the national media and saying, hey, yeah, we are going to hold firm with Dylan Cease. Our price is our price. And they're letting Bob and other people know that that is their price. And just like the Cincinnati people know that they're asking for an absolute lot that we're not ready to go for. And so that's what I'm getting out of this. Bob is in the business of, forwarding baseball and getting these reports out to the masses like we're eating up right now. And so I think that's what the White Sox are doing. It's like, hey, you guys are not giving us what we want, and we want everybody to know that this is our price. And we want to know that if you don't want to meet it, cool, we'll just go with Dylan Cease to July, as Vinnie says. And that time, you'll have that same price, and you'll have to pay it. So the price is the price, whether you want to pay it now or then. And it might be more then because Dylan Cease might come out and be Dylan Cease again.
But as we were just talking last week, the price has changed, or at least according to Joel Sherman and Bob Nightengale's reports. Joel Sherman said 3 premium prospects. Bob Nightengale said 2 top 100 and 2 prospects. So that sounds like, oh, hey, we want X, Y, and Z being 3 premium prospects. And it's like, no, you'll get U, W, X, and Z or whatever.
What you're reading is the specifics of what you're reading has changed. We don't know when in the conversation with any other team that price was then said to it got out or whatever. You know what I mean? Whether it was leaked or just got out, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The White Sox, when we heard about the Reds thing, what did I keep saying? Yeah, maybe that's where the conversation started. It doesn't mean it necessarily continued that way, because I'm sure when you start the conversation like that, the other party goes, we'd rather not. Yeah. How about this? You know what I mean? It's a negotiation, right? And so maybe along the lines, at some point in a conversation with some team, they wanted 3 guys that were ranked in the top 100 because that's what that farm system had to offer. Maybe in a conversation with another team, they wanted 2 guys in the top 100 because those guys were players that they identified they want. But also it might have been at any point during maybe they went to the Yankees and said they wanted the same thing they wanted from the Reds. This is all hypothetical. And then the Yankees were like, no. And then it progressed. And then where they were at that point is what ended up in the newspaper. So again, who knows? We are not flies on that wall for everything, and I understand the desire of people to want to get those specifics. They want to know, hey, I'm going to go to this team's list and pick out these two guys because that's what I would want if I were the GM kind of thing. But these things are really fluid, and the names of those players can change in there, and the ranking, I doubt Chris Getz calls up and says, we only want players that are ranked in a certain position on Fangraphs as top 100. You know what I mean? They want certain guys. And so if they end up being ranked wherever, then so be it. But I think that there's a lot that go on in these talks and in these conversations, which obviously haven't produced a trade yet, that, are not necessarily the one thing that ends up in a report.
And I think the slow free agent market, of course, has also stalled out the trade market because, as Vinnie said, other people have other options. And so Marcus Stroman's still out there mid-January. Same thing with Blake Snell, who never heard anything of a team that he's close with or anything like that. And that's a big-time contract he's going to be signing. Same thing with Jordan Montgomery. So, those talks being stalled probably are also giving these people who are trying to acquire Dylan Cease pause and saying, I have other options. And the Yankees can just go out and sign Blake Snell if they wanted it, a big-time top-of-the-rotation arm. But, it's still stalling. People are not really going. There's so many of Scott Boras' clients that still need to be signed. It's just so ridiculous. I think that's causing some of the Dylan Cease lag right now.
And what you haven't mentioned yet was what Bob reported, 2 top 100 prospects plus 2 other prospects. And guess what? What does that sound like? Sounds like the return the White Sox got for Chris Sale. Mm-hmm. Sounds like the return the White Sox got for Adam Eaton. Sounds like the return the White Sox got for Jose Quintana. I mean,
man,
I've been drawing
boom. One of those things is not like the other two.
I've been drawing that comparison for a while now in terms of expectation setting. And guess what? There it is, the exact description of what they got in each of those trades. They only got 3 players in the Eaton deal, obviously, but it just makes sense that would be kind of the area that they would go with that. And I think folks who were expecting a lot more, Herb, perhaps yourself included, probably going to end up disappointed. But I think that would seem, if you can, basically what I'm saying is if you can get back for Dylan Cease what you got back for Chris Sale, that's pretty damn good in terms of setting yourself up for long-term success.
Absolutely.
I would hesitant be like, oh, God, these players are not good enough. But yes, if you got Yohan Moncada and Michael Kopech, and I got understand if
the
you're
2016
out there,
version.
Yeah,
of that.
If
right.
you're listening now, you're like, oh, those guys suck. But yeah, those 2 players, that type of player that are going to be projected to be major league players relatively soon and pretty good, even though they didn't turn out such. Yeah, I'll be grateful for that. It'll be awesome if they got that.
I really do think that the Yankees will likely be the ones to pay this price. I think it will happen before the regular season starts.
Okay.
So I think March
28th.
28th. I understand Bob's Bob's 7th prediction, which wasn't like, leading off. It doesn't feel like it's a for sure. You know what I'm saying?
You don't
here?
sell papers by putting the White Sox at number 1.
Well, yeah, that's fair, but Dylan Cease is, I think, a fair mover, especially with the markets of the Yankees being interested, the Mets being interested, the Dodgers still possibly being interested. Jeff reported that it was close. Ken reported that it was close. Bob predicted that he would be on the team come spring training. I still don't feel like Dylan Cease come March 28th is going to be a White Sox.
Again, things are going to happen before a team moves on to that order of business. That's what I truly think. The White Sox are not the ones driving anything because they don't have to trade him. There's no rule that they have to trade him. If they keep him, good, then they're better. And they also can trade him again in July, or they can trade him again next winter. But for a lot of teams out there, they do view themselves as, we need a pitcher before the season starts, or we're not going to be in the position that we want to be in to compete. And so when those teams get to that point, when they're like, oh, well, we can't go get Blake Snell anymore, we can't go get Imanaga anymore, we can't go get Montgomery anymore, that's when that order of business is going to come along. And that's what we heard way back before the winter meetings even started, was that the White Sox were waiting on those guys. And all that's happened since then is that 2 or three-ish big name pitchers have gone to the Dodgers. And apparently that still hasn't even taken the Dodgers out of it. So there's still a lot of teams out there, probably the same teams, with the exception of maybe the Braves, who went and got Chris Sale, that haven't moved on to that item on their to-do list yet.
Yeah, Imanaga, as you brought up to his deadline's Thursday, and Mark Feinstein of MLB.com is reporting that one is shaping up and seemingly closing in on the Giants, and that's not a contender for Dylan Cease. So I think that's good for the White Sox. Like, if the Cubs were to sign him, I think that's probably a little bit of like, I don't. The Cubs?
Never heard of them.
I know. Oh yeah, right.
They do things this offseason?
Why is what the Cubs do bad for the White Sox?
Well, so the Cubs are reportedly
because-
in on Imanaga, and he's a starting pitcher. So maybe that would just
Because you're trying to
expand
still
their options.
manifest the cease to the Cubs trade.
I'm not trying to manifest it. Again, I think the Yankees are likely the team that ends up paying the price before opening day. But I think it's just good for the White Sox to have as many teams in.
Absolutely.
Especially with the Cubs. They have a top 5 farm system. It seems like a good team to bargain with. They might not be that interested, though. That's the big thing. And it does seem like the Orioles are interested, but not at the price. It seems like the Yankees with Trent Grisham, Alex Verdugo, Aaron Judge, and who's the other guy in their outfield?
Soto.
Juan Soto. Right. Oh, yeah, that guy. That outfield feels pretty full. Jason Dominguez, not going to be a part of that outfield, I guess, in 2024 because of his UCL surgery, but also, maybe you try to help Juan Soto, Aaron Judge this year with Dylan Cease, and I do think the Yankees are that team that likely pulls that trigger. So I don't know. It seems like it's shaping up, even though Bob Nightengale saying we could probably be doing this until February.
How many times were we almost close to a Manny Machado decision way back when, and a Bryce Harper decision way back when?
And that took us to March.
I believe that another thing that Bob wrote in there is that he thought that was it Snell was going to last deep into the spring in terms of his free agency. So, it might just be one of them off seasons that just drags and drags.
Fun. And Blake Snell could fall right into the Angels' laps. I bet he's very excited about that.
Excitement.
Yeah, great. He's thrilled to go get paid by the Angels. And Trent Grisham too. Yeah.
Traded years.
Plenty of people have taken the Angels' money before.
And yes,
Anthony Rendon just chilling at the house,
right,
all the time. Money and checks clear.
I feel like Blake Snell and Anthony Rendon would get along. They seem like they'd get. I don't know. But yeah, Trent Grisham, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Alex Verdugo is that outfield for the Yankees. They're 4 outfielders.
And there's nowhere to go at DH because they've got Stanton.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and Brian Cashman is openly bashing Giancarlo Stanton, so he doesn't want him on the team. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Dylan Cease. Let's take a break. We also got some questions from Jim coming up, and we got a Mailbag Monday. Sarah just entered those ads. All right, let's get going. Jim asked me this question, sales guy Jim, what team would win? 26 pitchers or 26 hitters? Ohtani is not in this game.
Well, that's impossible. That would be against the rules.
So
you need to have a certain number of pitchers
Okay,
on your
Vinny.
roster at all times.
I would say
You're no fun.
You're saying pitchers
pitchers
playing
would hit.
positions.
Yeah,
the name of
pitchers
the
would
game
hit.
is to score runs, and yes, those pitchers would be probably better. But I would say the 26 hitters would get hits off those people. If a regular position player plays pitcher and goes against a pitcher who doesn't hit, I think they would have just as much success because pitchers, for the most part, have shown you that they can hit. Cannot hit. Tell me,
But
like,
that's
even when they say
that's them hitting other pitchers.
the good hitting pitcher, and it's like Madison Bumgarner, who's got like a 120 or 176 batting average in his career, just because he ran into a couple balls. Everybody's like, "Ooh, man, that's a good hitting pitcher."
I would way rather have 26 hitters, half of them who are forced to pitch.
I mean, look at Lurie Garcia. His ERA, what is that? Like 2?
Matt Davis struck out Stanton.
Exactly.
yeah, okay. Relax.
I mean, and think about this.
19 home runs for Bumgarner.
Great. Every single batter that you know in the major leagues has probably pitched in somewhere in their lives. And yes, most of the pitchers have probably hit, but there's a reason why they stopped hitting, because they couldn't and put their punk asses behind the mound. Now, if they're all Michael Lorenzens, maybe.
No, but I mean, if they're throwing, I mean, what realistically can a position player throw?
85? Consistent?
It doesn't matter. The odds of baseball in general, it doesn't matter how good you're throwing. There's going to be ground balls. You know what I mean? There's going to be a fly ball that gets to the track instead of the seats. I'd rather go ahead and I would rather take my chances with my hitters in a slugfest than sit there and hope that I am the team that scratches the one run across in every single game.
Yeah, and who's are there Marcus Stromans all around the diamond who are Gold Glove caliber? You've seen Aaron Bummer. He cannot feel worth a damn. And if you put all those guys around the field, especially at catcher, they would crush.
John Lester couldn't even throw to first base.
I honestly, real quick, just get Madison Bumgarner might have been like the third or fourth best hitter on the White Sox. 24 to 25-year-old Madison Bumgarner hit .252, batting average of 280, or on base percentage of 280, slugged .469, an OPS of 750, and an OPS plus of 106.
That's fine. Yeah,
good hitting pitcher.
Yeah,
that's better than Andrew Benintendi.
And
they paid him,
and he's one.
Yes,
he's one guy.
He's
one
like
guy.
the highlight of the pitchers of our
well,
time.
Greinke is all right?
I'm sure if you look at his stats, it's probably under 200. Probably ran into a couple. Yeah, he was pretty decent with the bat. Greg Maddux, those type of guys. Yeah, but nowadays pitchers
225.
Baby, hey, that's pretty solid for a career.
I mean,
for a pitcher.
Ooh. He hit 122 OPS plus. Mercy, 125 OPS plus. He had some seasons. All right.
You didn't get your answer.
I think you guys convinced me of. I originally said pitchers, but you're right. I didn't actually think about the fielding aspect. And the guys that are hitters typically field. Those are the guys that usually play those 9 positions. So, usually.
And you only need one good pitcher amongst those hitters. You need at least 2 or 3 good hitters amongst those pitchers.
In one game, you would only need one, but over the course of a season, you'd need.
I'd pay to see it. I think this should be the All-Star game. All right, let's go into our first mailbag question. It's from Nato. What stadiums will you guys be visiting as fans this summer? I just went on a honeymoon and can't spend any more money in 2024, so nowhere.
I got to do the Florida ones. I don't know if I'm going to do Tampa, but I'm definitely going to do Miami eventually. And it's not White Sox dependent, so I'll just go on like a weekend or something like that and see that.
You going this summer?
Lone Depot Field, whatever the hell it's called.
You going to Tampa too?
No, we're going to try, but that's not a priority. I want them to move and get a different stadium before I go there. That's kind of like the Oakland thing. I want to wait until the end of the cycle before they move and say, all right, are you going to move? No? Cool. I got to go to that damn garage you guys are playing baseball in.
I have no plans to go to any road parks this summer as a vacation destination, but you always look at the ones that you can drive, right? That you can make a weekend trip out of it. Haven't been to Cincy, haven't been to Pittsburgh, so those two maybe would be on the list.
You know, for a treat.
Do those. I mean, if you had a week, you could probably just go.
You make a nice little circuit out of it, yeah.
Well, Pittsburgh's an actual good city outside of the ballpark. Cincinnati, it's rough. It's a rough go. Boring as shit.
I've never been. Been to Sandusky, Ohio. Man, what a great place that was. Sarah, you going to any ballparks this year?
Just Wrigley, unfortunately, and then I will be
going. It's a road ballpark. That counts.
Yeah, and then I'll catch some Sox games because those are always pretty affordable. But I'm kind of,
just wait till you see 2024 prices.
I know. I'm so excited. Yeah, I have to save money too. I'm not really trying to spend a lot of money.
The Goodlands right here, Milwaukee's right up the street. Much better than both these ballparks.
I've never been to that stadium.
You could eat for the cycle.
Oh yeah, go there
or try.
What's the cycle?
Eat for the cycle. Eat all 5 varieties of racing sausage in one game.
That's a thing. I can't do that.
Oh, I want to do that now.
It used to be 4, so it made more sense.
Steven could do that.
Sting?
Steven.
Oh, Steven.
Yeah, Steven.
I was like, wow,
Sting?
Is there something I don't know about former Police frontman Sting?
Yeah, or wrestler Sting. Maybe both of them.
I think the wrestler would probably have a better chance of housing ballpark sausages.
I think so too.
Real Sting is very skinny.
I would like to see singer Sting in the Sting face mask.
I'm sure that exists on the internet. I'm sure you can find the Photoshop.
I would like
of
to
that.
see him do it though. It's different. Anyways, all right. Thank you, NATO. And this is from our Die Hard Mailbag Monday. So if you do want to become a Die Hard, check out allchgo.com. You get a shirt when you sign up. You get access to Die Hard exclusive articles written by our beat staff, and you also get access to our Discord where these questions were asked. I'm at the point already where I'm missing being at the ballpark. Where are your favorite place to sit at the G rate to take in the game from our guy Shulo?
I used to have season tickets at like 538. The only problem that was they wouldn't let you down to the 100 level. And I thought, having partial season ticket holder, I can be, escorted down to the 100 level. But no, that was the only problem with that because the view was right behind home plate. It was a perfect, awesome view because you were like 8 rows up. And you could see everything. It's panoramic. You could see all the plays that happen before they even actually happen. So you can track the outfielder. Some balls hit deep, and you don't have to yell. It's like, oh, that's going to be a home run. No, it's just right to the warning track. But since I can't do that anymore or don't want to do that anymore since they don't give me access to 100 level, I like to go over down to the 108 people. I like to go into the 151 or 157, which is on the third baseline. Anywhere it's inexpensive and the fans are in a good group. Like the 108 people make it very, very welcoming over there when you do go over there. But, it's going to be very sad this year because I think a lot of people gave up their season tickets and this team's not shaping up to be anything. So it might be empty ballpark all year long where you usually only see that, during
You'll
April
see Sarah
games.
there.
You'll be there, Sarah?
You'll see Sarah in the stands.
Just one person, Sarah.
Yep, I will be there.
You'll be one of the people that are there. But, yeah, it's going to be a desolate place this year if they don't sign more people. But it's a good time every time I go to the ballpark, no matter what.
I like. I've gotten the last couple of years. I've gotten some family members. I bought some seats out in the artist formerly known as the Goose Island, and I really like that out there. They've got the non-stationary seats, so you get a little bit more leg room for a taller fellow like myself. In the little bar in front of you, so that's a really good spot. Obviously, those are a little more pricey. One time when I was in high school, a friend of mine and I got purchased some seats outside the stadium, which you're not advised to do, and ended up on the fan deck. Which was very interesting.
All the free drinks.
It's the only time I had been out there. It was it's far away. You can't really see much of anything, but it's an interesting vantage point that most people never have because, you usually want to sit behind or as close to behind home plate as you can. Certainly myself was very familiar nowadays, not in high school, but nowadays with the press box view. That is an entirely different view out there all the way high up in center field.
My first baseline press box?
Yeah, what did I not?
No. I was just clarifying.
Yes, first base side, yeah.
Yeah.
100 level.
I mean, you talked about sitting behind home plate. Obviously, the fan deck is the exact opposite. I've never done scout seats, but 2024 is definitely the year to go buy scout seats because it's going to be probably the cheapest it's ever been and the most available it's ever been. So if you have ever dreamed, like me, of sitting in scout seats, 2024 might be your year. That, I guess, would be the best view in the house, right? It doesn't get better than that.
I had a buddy come to the game last year, and I sat with him kind of at the back of the section behind home plate. So almost all the way back up to the concourse. Terrific view from right there. So not even the luxury aspect of the scout seats perhaps, but you still get kind of that same angle. And I really enjoyed that. But of course you got to pay attention because those foul balls come back there.
Hey. You guys a glove guy? Would you harass a grown person for bringing a glove?
No, it's their prerogative.
It's their face.
Stay safe. Hey, I mean, didn't former BBM guy Eric Brown used to bring a glove every time to the press box? So yeah, if you want to protect yourself from those screaming balls, back in the day when I was young and stupid, I would be like, oh, you're dumb. Just catch it with your hand. But now, those balls come by 100+ miles per hour. And
now that we have exit velo data,
there ain't no joke. I remember one time when me and my friend were sitting in Wrigley, and Joliet Jeff Reed hit a ball up to us. We were up in the 400 section of Wrigley, whatever it is, the high level. It hit right in front of us, in the seat right in front of us. It made such a loud thump. We're like, no, we did not even try to grab it. It's like, F all that. And then that's when changed my mind. I'm like, about bringing gloves, about, trying to catch foul balls out there. And then also the netting. I'm glad that they've have netting all the way down the line because, man, some of those balls down third and first base line, screaming.
Now you pay your own insurance, so you don't want to be going to the hospital with a broken hand.
No, and on the ticket it says you got to pay attention. Your shit is fucked up. That's on you. Verbatim.
That's exactly what it says.
Yeah,
right on the back of the ticket. On the back of the
print.
non-existent ticket. Yeah.
Oh, I got a ticket. It's the 1920s.
Let me pull out my magnifying glass. The one place that I would recommend sitting is 161, but don't sit at it during a night game because you get a horrible. The sun comes
That's where
right over.
all the fights happen.
Yes.
Right.
And that where late you got shot too?
Yeah. No, she was
158.
She was over further. Yeah,
She was behind
in front
the
of the kid zone. Yeah.
Yeah. It is where all the fights happen, but also it's where I saw Mark Burley's perfect game. So it's kind of a special place, and I do like the view there. It's especially in the afternoon if you get some cloud. I think it's just the best view of the park. I like watching from behind, but I get the point of maybe avoid the rowdiness because
That's where all the fights are without fail. Now, and I'll say this, I know why, because I once, again, in high school, sat out in that area. I don't know if it was that exact section, but that bleacher area out there. And there was a dude in front of me, college age, a little older than myself, who had brought a sandal. His sandal had a flask in it.
Nice.
And throughout the game, he would take his shoe off and just drink out of his shoe. And I thought this is one of the stranger things I've ever seen.
You guys ever hear the New Zealand tradition of a shoey?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've not.
You went, I guess.
Briefly. It was at the airport.
They did it at the
They
airport.
didn't do it at the airport.
It's you basically do I think it's you drink a beer out of someone's shoe.
Yeah.
I mean, why? But why?
It's not sanitary.
No.
Because people from New Zealand are, I guess,
Great.
from the farm. All right. Hit the thumbs up button. We appreciate you watching. I guess, anything else to bring up?
We didn't really ever get your Maldi thoughts.
We didn't get my Maldonado
yeah. How
thoughts.
many
I
you
closed out out of all those. Okay. So, Yasmani Grandal, you were surprised that his 2023 was as good as it was, an 80 weighted runs created plus, right?
I was, yes. Because that is not good, to be honest. That's 20% worse than average, but I would assume that he had a worse year. I guess I'm remembering back to the year prior.
Yeah, well, he did. He was worse in 2022. He had a 68 weighted runs created plus.
That is worse.
Martín Maldonado in 2023 had a 66 weighted runs created plus.
Worse than the worst Yaz year.
Who is injured Yaz, like
Correct.
brutally beaten down,
Correct.
battered and torn Yaz,
Correct.
pre-goalie training Yasmani Grandal.
Correct.
Also, that Yasmani Grandal gave, according to Fangraphs, 1.7 defensive value in 118 games. Martín Maldonado played 117 games, had a negative 7.3 defensive value last year. So, to your point, they're bringing in a guy who is 37 years old and just put up a negative 1.2 F4 season. So I don't even know if this guy's an upgrade. I think he's just well liked.
I would say he is in certain areas. I think the distinction that I would draw, or a point that I would bring up with what you're doing there in the comp with Grandal, is Grandal was paid what he was paid and was brought in specifically to be an offensive force. He was brought in to be one of the best offensive catchers in baseball. Right. And he did that in the limited playing time that he was able to do in the first 2 years of that contract. In the second 2 years, it was very much not the case. You read off the numbers there, and he was not good offensively at all. And he was paid to be good offensively in addition to the catching part of it. Maldonado is being paid nowhere near as much as Grandal was being paid to be a presence behind the plate. And the reason I phrase it that way is because that doesn't necessarily just mean defensive statistics, which were objectively bad last year, but throughout his career, the numbers have been better. You know, he's a guy who's played that year. That year was not the normal year for him. So I think when it comes to working with a pitching staff, that is a valuable asset, especially if you heard him allude to it in there. If you're going to be bringing up the Nick Nestrinis of the world, the Christian Menas of the world, if Kai Bush and Leisure and Cannon and some of these other guys make their way to the major leagues in 2024, they've got a guy there who is maybe as good as it gets in terms of working with pitchers. On top of it, what did we just talk about with Yasmani Grandal? He was limited in his playing time consistently over the length of the contract. obviously out of his control in 2020, but in the years after that, because he wasn't able to stay on the field, Martín Maldonado has ranked in the top 5 in innings caught in each of the last 4 seasons. So, again, am I going to sit here and tell you that Martín Maldonado is going to make the All-Star team? Absolutely not. But he is giving them value in areas where I think they needed it. He is undoubtedly not giving them value in other areas where they need it. But I think what Herb was saying, what I was saying earlier when we were talking about the moves that Chris Getz has made to this point, they are making them better, yes. It doesn't mean it's making them good enough to do and pick your thing, win a lot more games, compete for the division, make the playoffs, on and on and on.
Yeah, I think they're thinking about intangibles, things that you can't measure with stats. And so I think that they're just going to improve, or they believe that Martín Maldonado's game prep and what he does with the pitching staff is going to improve that so much that the catching metrics aren't going to, show out that he's actually doing well. But you ask Hunter Brown or any of the young pitchers from Houston, it's like, did Martín help you out? Yes. This was just detailed, sourced, and it made me better. And you heard Carlos Correa said why they lost those games is because Martín Maldonado did the adjustments against that Minnesota Twins game.
The one thing, too, that I'm realizing is a benefit, you bring up, 4th most innings or 5th, top 5 in innings caught over the past 4 years. That's been for a playoff Astros team. The White Sox aren't going to the playoffs, so he can catch, 20 more games in the regular season and give them, catch 140
You're not
games.
saving him for October,
right.
is what you're getting at.
Yeah,
exactly. I think, what some folks are catching on here, too, in the comments, I think makes a lot of sense. Remember, this is a team that obviously admittedly had culture and locker room issues last year. If you're trying to create something completely new, if you're trying to move in a brand new direction and lay a foundation for what's to come, is there some positive in bringing in guys that are going to have the attitude and the abilities, the off-field abilities that you want them to have? Again, does it mean wins? Maybe not now, it doesn't, and you can be perfectly frustrated with that. Does it mean runs? No, and you can be perfectly frustrated about that. But Chris Getz has a long-term plan, so he tells us, and I'm sure that it begins with getting the identity right and the culture right in the clubhouse so you can build on top of that.
All right, that's going to do it. We got a show tomorrow. I won't say more about that. We got a show tomorrow at 3:30.
We do.
Make sure you join us. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us, like Michael, Melissa, Connor, Matt, Jared as well, Alejandro. Make sure you guys are hitting the thumbs up button on your way out. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. Again, we'll see you tomorrow at 3:30.
We all silly like the mayor.